Sean Webb here along with my good friend and teacher partner Mike Granado, Athletic Motion Golf. And today we're going to talk about something that we get a lot of questions about, how to stop the sway in the golf swing.
Right, there can be sway in the backswing, there can be sway in the downswing, and like all things, even salads, you could have too much of a good thing.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. That's true.
Right, because there is lateral motion in the golf swing. We want lateral motion in the golf swing.
Yeah.
We want salads.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we want healthier foods, but you can overdo it, right? We can have too much of a good thing, and we see that quite often. Golfers taste a little bit of sway, and then they start really snacking on it, and it could be a problem both backswing and downswing.
Okay, Mike, so let's talk about sway. Now, if you've watched any of our gears videos, you know that one of the parameters that it measures is how much the body moves laterally during the swing, and they call that sway.
A sway, it's a slide, whatever you want to call it, it's a lateral movement.
Exactly.
Independent of rotation.
Yeah.
But at the same time as rotation, right? So it's just one parameter that we can see in 3D, and we can measure it. So we see a lot of golfers, again, go back to our setup videos, and we want that dynamic setup, but we see a lot of golfers start from a static position and start to kind of almost get the club in motion by swaying or rocking or lurching off the golf ball.
Yeah.
And it leads to a very odd thing in the backswing.
Yeah, yeah. So ideally, you know, as the golfer takes the club back, we've looked at a lot of swings on gears. It's okay to have a little bit of lateral motion early here as you start to kind of push off this left side to get some pressure going early. But we don't want to see sway, an excessive amount for one thing. And we don't want to see that sway number max out as the club reaches the top of the backswing.
That's right.
That's probably the kiss of death. I see it all day long. People continue turning and swaying as the club reaches the top, and that's the maximum amount of their turn and their sway as the club reaches the top of the backswing.
And that goes beautifully to our intro, to your point about the timing, right? Exactly. We can have these elements in our swing that some people kind of think of as swing faults, as long as they're done in the right time and to the right amount, right? There's lateral movement in the swing. Yeah. And we should also point out too, demonstrate what we're actually measuring in 3D with gears.
Yeah.
So we'll say the end of this club is our right hip, the end of this club is our left hip, and I'm going to be the center of our pelvis right here with my hand. We're measuring the center of the pelvis on gears. So if I didn't have any sway, the swing would look kind of like this, or the pelvis would move like this, which doesn't really happen. There is some movement away like this.
Yeah.
So I'm swaying with this, but it's not this way.
Yeah, it's just measuring if you had a tennis ball embedded in me.
Yes.
Where's that going in a lateral direction?
But there's actual lateral motion in rotation.
Yeah.
Right? We don't just spin around like this.
Yes, absolutely right. And we've seen it with a lot of good golfers. There is a little bit of lateral.
Yep.
Let's call it maybe 1 inch here early in the backswing.
1, 2, 2.5 tops, which is very small when you consider what we see from amateur golfers.
And I think what golfers have a problem with is that, okay, they've been told, you know, they may be told, okay, you're swaying.
Right.
Well, the sway would be okay as long as they recentered.
Right.
That has to kind of fit together, right?
Right. Right.
And a lot of them don't do the recentering.
That's right. We see a lot of maximum sway, which was your point up here at the top. Now, again, 1/4 of a second, I've got to recover that and then move forward in that 1/4 of a second. Rotation will suffer when that happens.
Yeah, and then here's the next piece. They say, okay, I see that I'm swaying. They don't understand the recentering because that's a little bit higher level if they haven't seen it before. So then they say, I'm not going to sway at all.
Right.
Now they start spinning around their ankles and twisting their body, and their hips almost go the other way. They almost reverse sway.
If this feels normal to them, then this starts to happen.
Or they just lock in place and do nothing, which is even worse than this.
Right.
So they throw the baby out with the bathwater, not realizing that, you know, you can have a little lateral as long as you start recentering, and that's the whole trick to this sway on the backswing, is that piece where it comes back toward the middle.
So we've got the sway in the backswing that we don't really want to really get crazy with that, small amounts. Now we also see it usually one leads to the other, but we can still get downswing sway without necessarily backswing sway.
Yeah, you could kind of get really good at the top here, and then if you've been taught to push off with your right side,
Right.
like if you thought about like maybe throwing a baseball and you're pushing hard off the mound, well, when you push in golf, because of the way we're oriented to the ground, a lot of times it bangs that left hip up in the air, and the sway number goes to like 7.
Right.
So that's too far. Now the arms are behind, you're forced to flip.
That's exactly right. And you get a lot of that, one, from posing a lot in the mirror, backswings in the mirror, where you're really teaching yourself to statically stop with everything on this right side. And then again, that clock shot, or that shot clock is running, so you throw everything forward, and again, it really hinders rotation, and you get all out of sorts with the upper body, lower body, and they're really at odds, and you can hit fat balls, hooks, thin balls. You get a whole variety of misses from that.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's just your intent, right? If you've been, this game is all about concepts. It's what your brain is telling your body to do.
Right.
If you have bad information in the head, in your brain, and those are the signals you're sending to your body, if I say, oh, I need to push to get power, that's going to send me flying down the fairway too far.
Right.
If you, in our other videos, you see that you want more of a fall on that foot, now you're in a completely different spot. Intuitively, you'll push more up and away, less slide, more speed. So just to switch in concepts, a lot of times will fix some of this stuff.
100%. So the correct way to sway in the golf swing, right, is to load up, get a little bit of bump, we'll call it, to the right foot, but early, when the club's somewhere between parallel, left arm is parallel. Then you're recentering that sway. And we should also point out that we're mainly talking about lower body, but the upper body sway number is recorded too.
Yeah, everybody talks pelvis, but it's trunk as well.
What's interesting is when these golfers recenter, these things are very much aligned, and then they both move forward.
Yeah.
They both start to sway forward 3 to 4 inches in the downswing until about left arm parallel. And then we see the lower body start to stabilize and the upper body start to retreat a little bit and rotate. And it gives us that, usually the pelvis center is going to be in front of the ball. The upper center at impact is going to be just behind the ball. So they're not, they don't separate a lot. They separate very little because they move together in a good golf swing.
And the driver, you'll get a little more kickback with the upper for the launch and just the speed, the sheer speed of it. But if you can, figure that, okay, instead of just, not sliding at all because you've been told you slide, you want the right amount of slide with both upper and lower body. And then when you do get the impact, you'll finally have this little bit of tilt we're looking for.
That's exactly right. Now, let's show a few drills to really kind of drive us home and help you to correct some of these faults.
Okay, Mike, we talked about the concept. Now let's give them some drills, because we know when they have the drills, they can feel what they need to do, which leads to the learning.
Right, so let's first talk about the backswing sway. All right, so let's have you set up, face the camera. So if you have a line drawing program on your phone or on your computer or whatever, go ahead and set up, Sean. Ideally, what you want to do is kind of put a line, basically straight line, outlining the outside of that rear leg. And what Sean's going to do in the backswing is he wants to kind of stay next to this line, maybe a little bit through it, but he certainly doesn't want to go away from it or massively past it.
Or finish my backswing as I'm still going that way.
So let's talk about the timing of that now. So let's first do it without the club so we can just get some room here and see it. Okay? So let's go full backswing.
So let me do the bad first?
Yes. Right there. All right?
See this all day, every day.
That's exactly right. All right, so he blew through it with his upper body, with his legs and everything.
And I'm maxed out my turn and I'm maxing out my sway.
That's exactly right. Now let's do it the right way. So we're going to close the gap, and it starts to peel away as you get near the top. That's the recentering move. So you don't want to short this and just peel away right at the start. You don't want to do that.
Don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
Into it, away from it, bam.
Yes. Now, a great way for you to feel this, let's set up down the line here, Sean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle this right there away. And we put it at an angle just so it's out of the way from the arms and hands. And Sean, I want to have you move a little closer. Give yourself about an inch right there, about 2 fingers width. And that's where you're going to play from. That's your bumper to hit shots.
I'm going to touch it and go away from it.
Yes.
So I feel touch with the thigh. I love this drill because it gives you some feeling of where that's hitting you and when. Touch it, peel away from it, hit the shot.
That's exactly right. It's there, away from it, and forward.
Touch and go.
Touch and go. I love it. All right, so that's the backswing sway. Downswing sway is going to be very similar. So let's just reverse it. So we're going to, again, you're going to put a line this time about a fist width away. So right there. Okay, that's where you want to draw your line at. Now, when he's making his golf swing, you're gonna touch and go in the backswing.
So touch, go.
Recenter. That's where his left leg or his front leg should basically close that gap and come up to this, and then he plays behind it coming into impact.
Yeah, because your hip's going back around.
Yes.
You don't want to keep, same thing, you don't want to keep going this way with
So
it.
what do we see a lot here?
So we see crashing through it,
Yep.
continuing to turn,
Yep.
crashing through it as they hit the ball.
That's exactly right. So we're going to do much the same thing. So we'll hit towards the camera this time, Sean.
Okay.
So come back this way a little bit. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put this in the ground, about mid-thigh, a fist width away.
Touch, go, touch, go.
And you're going to touch and go. And you
Yeah.
can do both sticks at the same time. You get the double whammy, but this is feedback, and it's great to practice with feedback.
Yeah, once you hit this, you almost feel like you peel around away from it again.
That's exactly right.
That's a great way not to keep running down the fairway.
So 2 alignment sticks, a couple dollars is all it's going to take to really start to get rid of the sway, the oversway out of your swing, or in some cases maybe undersway.
Yeah, you might learn that you need some of this to get some dynamics.
That's exactly right. So the rear hip, 2 fingers away, the front hip, a fist away. That's kind of your barrel, in old-timey speak.
Yeah.
That's your barrel that you play in, bump, bump with the sticks, and you should be good to go. You'll tune up overswing for sure, and you may realize that you've got room to add a little bit of lateral motion.
I'm gonna start snacking on it. I was trying not to bust out laughing. My face was quivering. Oh God.
We good?
Start snacking. Let's do it again.
Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like. Also, let us know about if there's content that you want us to make that's specific to your swing. Right? You have the most important swing in golf, and we want to make videos to help you play better golf. So leave us comments down below about this video or about something that we haven't made yet that you want to see. Also, don't forget to subscribe. That'll give you notifications just as soon as new videos come out. If you haven't gotten our free distance video yet, click on the first pinned comment below this video. You'll see a link there, click on that. That'll take you to a page where you can enter your name, email, and we'll send you a free distance video so you can add more distance to your swing instantly, right straight to your inbox.